Hi, I'm Allison here to practice flute with you. And today we're going to focus on the ILMEA Middle School Cycle 3 audition. This is the Andersen Opus 37 E minor etude. The key signature of E minor has one sharp, F sharp, so notice that there are no B flats and no E flats. The key signature has the F sharp, and in E minor we'll notice a lot of D sharps also as we're playing through. One of the tricky things about the key of E minor is the E itself in the staff tends to want to crack a whole lot. So I suggest warming up with what I call growing intervals. Let's begin with the E and growing away from the E. Let's play E, D sharp, E, ready, go. E, C, E, E, B, E, E, A, E, E, G, E, E, F sharp, E, E, octave E, back to E. Let's do the same thing going up the scale as well, moving away from the E, going up to F sharp, G, A, B, C. And we will take the D sharp in the upper register also, and then high E. So when we have the raised D sharp and a C natural, this makes the E harmonic minor scale if you're practicing the scale separately to go along with this. Moving up the growing intervals, E, F sharp, E, E, G, E, E, A, E, E, B, E, E, C, E, E, D sharp, E, E, high E, E. And I suggest practicing it slurred, tongued, using what I call abdominal bursts, which is taking the tongue away and essentially going huh, huh, huh into the flute. Etc. And you can see a little bit more explanation of that in the Flute Students' Steps to Success middle school version of the ILMEA practice books. Those practice books are available for digital download online for purchase and can be found with the link that you'll see below this video. Now let's play through cycle 3 at a rather slow tempo to make sure we're getting all the notes. We will not take repeats for this playthrough. Let's just play the page straight down. No repeats, no DC al fine. At the bottom of the page, you might notice that the instructions DC al fine. That stands for da capo al fine. So da capo essentially stands for go back to the top or go back to the cap is kind of what the reference of the top of the head, the top of the piece, and then stop at the fine. So after the repeat back to A, you would then go back to the very beginning in fine. For now, let's just play straight through. I'm going to turn on a metronome set to quarter note, or dotted quarter note equals 25. So this is considerably slower than the tempo on the printed page. However, I want to make sure that we're getting a centered tone on each of those E's and all of the intervals, as well as just double checking the pitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3. So normally we would then either repeat back to A or back to the beginning depending on how many times through we'd gone. So that's quite under tempo, and hopefully you could hear the metronome throughout that as we were playing. There are a couple of measures where we tend to make a little bit more mistakes, or I tend to hear more mistakes in my students. The first of those measures is in the 6th measure of this etude, where it starts on the low E. So the second line, 3rd measure. Let's double check the notes there. It starts off with a chromatic scale: E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, C sharp, E, D sharp, F sharp, B. I recommend for that A sharp using your lever key. And if the lever key, which is above the F key here, is something that's unfamiliar with you, maybe check with a teacher or flutist in your area, or a high school student or somebody a little bit older. Let's practice just those 2 measures put together. First, say the notes and finger them with me. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, C sharp, E, D sharp, F sharp, B. Now let's play those 2 measures put together. Ready, set, go. The next place where I tend to notice mistakes in students playing is the 4th line with all of those upper register notes. The first big leap is A, E. Let's just slur from A to E. Ready? Go. Try that again, slurring from A to E. Ready? Go. Now let's tongue A, E. Ready? Go. Trying that again. Ready? Go. The next big leap up is from B to F sharp. Let's slur that one twice. Ready? Go. Again, B, F sharp. Ready? Go. Tonguing B to F sharp. Ready? Go. And again. Ready? Go. The next measure, we have one more big leap from E in the staff to high G. Let's practice slurring E to G twice. Ready? Go. And as you move up in these leaps, think about opening the mouth even more. Ooh, ah. So to create more space in the back molars and more space in the mouth. So that way those high notes are less likely to go quite as sharp. Let's try the E, G again. Ready? Go. Ooh, ah. Let's tongue that E, G twice. Ready? Go. And again. Ready? Go. We have a few more places with chromaticism. The next 2 measures that follow, the last 2 measures of that line. C, B, B flat, A is also just your chromatic scale. After A, we have the same thing coming from the C, B, B flat, A, G sharp, G, F sharp, F. That all is a chromatic scale. So make sure that in addition to practicing your E minor scale, you're practicing your chromatic scales to feel very comfortable with those. Let's now jump down to the last line and practice the first two measures of the last line. Let's first say the notes, partly because with the placement of the stems of the notes next to the staff, it's a little bit harder to see what the notes are. So let's make sure we're playing the right notes there. This is the first two measures of the last line. We have C, E, C, E, G, E, D, F natural, B, A, F natural, E, D is the next measure. Let's try playing that one note at a time, going rather slow. Ready, set, go. Let's try those two measures again. This is the last line, the first two measures of the last line. Ready, set, go. And then it follows again with the chromatic scale. Again, with the chromatic scale, using the lever B flat might help smooth out the technique there, but we won't cover that in this video. Let's play again, beginning to end, but moving the metronome up slightly. So now we're going to play with a dotted quarter note at 30 beats per minute. And again, keeping the triplet subdivision will help us feel like it's in 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And even if you're used to playing this faster, practicing it at a slow tempo to make sure you have the tone that you want on every note, working through the articulation and the dynamics is great, in addition to the discipline of making sure that you're playing your notes evenly. Playing the notes evenly in this is a very important thing. They are all eighth notes. There is no other rhythm throughout this, so we don't need to practice counting. It's just in 6/8 and they're all eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only place to be cautious is at the end of the fourth line, there are 2 beats of rest. So make sure that you include those 2 beats of rest as you're playing. Understanding that this does need to be completely even in eighth notes, it can be beneficial for a few reasons to practice purposefully changing the rhythm. And you can see these rhythmic groupings in the Flute Students' Steps to Success practice book that goes along with this video. Let's try those practice steps with just the first line. So we're going to change the rhythm to essentially be eighth note followed by 2 16th notes. Or you can think long, short, short, long, short, short. Let me demonstrate it for you first. So changing these rhythms, since we're going to do all 3 rhythmic variations, can help us learn to play faster. It will actually improve the muscle memory and the speed of the muscle movement. In addition, it makes the brain focus differently, which can get our brains better engaged in learning the music. And third, it just gives us a little bit of variation in the way that we practice. I know for me personally, sometimes when I'm practicing the same piece of music or the same etude for a long period of time, I might get distracted or get bored. So these kind of variations can help excite us or create something new so that way we're focused on practicing again. So let's try those rhythmic variations. And I'm setting the metronome right now to be approximately the same tempo. I'm going to set the metronome to 60. And we're going to use the rhythm 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and so I'm taking this etude out of 6/8 for moments and taking it to 2/4. So say that rhythm with me first. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and let's try applying that to the entire first line. 1 and ready, go. Try it again. 2, ready, go. The second rhythmic variation that we're going to try is a little bit more complicated for some of us to understand. We're going to make the middle note long. Rhythmically, it's going to look like 16th note, 8th note, 16th note, 16th note, 8th note, 16th note, or 1E, 2E, 1E, 2E. Essentially, you can also think about just making the middle note long. Let's try counting the rhythm of that variation first. 2, ready, go. 1E, 2E, 1E, 2E. Let me demonstrate for you. 1, 2. Let's try together. 1, 2, ready, go. Playing through that first line again with the second rhythmic variation a second time. 1, 2, ready, go. And the third rhythmic variation is going to be making the last note long, or 1E and 2E and. Let me demonstrate. And as we do this, we focus on different notes each time, which is amazing because really we want every single note on the page to get the attention it deserves. There's not one note on this page that shouldn't be beautiful and with centered tone. So when we change where we focus the attention on the beat, we get to give different notes a little extra attention. Let's try counting it together. Ready, go. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and. And now let's try playing it. 1 and, ready, go. Playing through that first line again. 1 and, ready, go. And again, those rhythms are written out in the practice book. If it's a little hard to grasp the concepts just by listening, so you might look into the practice book, and I would suggest practicing that not only through the entire etude, but especially focusing on the measures that are giving you trouble. So let's go to the fourth line, and we're only going to do the first 2 measures. We'll stop on the downbeat of the third measure, and apply those 3 practice rhythms to the fourth line. This is the A, E, C, B, F sharp, D sharp, E, G, F sharp, E, B, G, stopping on the next C. First rhythm is 1 and 2 and 1 and, ready, go. Second rhythm is 1 E, 2 E. 1 and, ready, go. Third rhythm is 1 E and 2 E and. 1, 2, ready. Let's also apply those same rhythmic groupings together, the very last line, just the first 2 measures there. This is where we have the C, E, G, E, D, F, B, A, F, E. First rhythm is 1 and 2 and 1 and, ready, go. And you can use this to make sure that you're in the right octave. Second rhythm is 1 E, 2 E, 1 and, ready, go. Did you have the low F in the second measure? I hope so. Third rhythm is 1 E and 2 E and. 1, 2, ready, go. And again, consider using those rhythms throughout the entire etude to give your practice a new spin, to help work out measures that are a little bit difficult, or just to give yourself a little bit of variation as you're practicing. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, please check out the Flute Students Steps to Success practice books available at middle school and high school levels. As you're looking ahead to the high school, you might check those out as well. In the meantime, please have a great time as you go out and practice flute.